Hey, I'm Dr. Kim, and we are here live for our very first Dr. Kim live show. You can ask us questions. We're going to talk about sex in marriage. I'll be right back. Okay, you're here for the very first show, and we're excited that you have decided to join us. We're going to do this every Tuesday at 2 o'clock on Central Time, be 3 o'clock Eastern, 12 noon on the Pacific, and 1 Mountain, I think. I hope I got those things right. But we're going to be talking about with you. I'm going to pick a topic each week. Then we're going to give you guys a chance to ask questions, and we're going to interact on some things. We're going to show some of our videos, and we're just going to have 20 or 30 minutes every week that you have a chance to ask questions and just kind of talk about things that are important. And today we are going to talk about sex in marriage. Now, I want to start really to kind of debunk this whole deal that God is a prude, because he's not. If you look at the beginning in the Bible, God created man and woman, Adam and Eve, first husband and wife. He created them. They were naked and unashamed. Their bodies, as we know God created them, where the bodies fit perfectly together in the sexual relationship. God gave us to our bodies to enjoy each other. And if you have any doubts about that, look at the Song of Solomon, where Solomon and his bride make love twice in that book. So yes, sex is for procreation, but it's also a gift that God gave us to enjoy, and it's to be enjoyed in the context, I believe, of Christian marriage. I think that's where you don't have anything else that interferes with it, and where it can be developed to be its very, very best. And yet there's the commitment, there's the long-term going through things, all those things that make it very, very special in the sexual relationship. So, God's not a prude. Sex was his idea in the first place. We got a couple of questions that have already come in, so let's go to those first. Number one, how can I ensure good sex in marriage? Well, what I tell couples all the time is you've got to talk about your sexual relationship with each other. I don't know how many couples I see in counseling that will tell me that they've never talked about it. They've never said what they like, what they don't like. They've never shared those kind of things at all. And that's really sad, because your sexual relationship, if you're not intentional about it, it's not going to grow. So how do you ensure it? You talk about it. You sit down together and you say, hey, let's talk about our sexual relationship. We want it to be everything God wants it to be. We want it to be God's gift to us. How do we do that? Where are we on it? Are you happy with it? Those kind of things. So you begin to talk about it. And really leads us into this second question, which is, how do I start the conversation about sex with my spouse? I think you just say, I love you so much. I want everything in our marriage to be everything God wants it to be. I think our sex life, although at times it has been good, it hasn't been there much lately, or it's gotten routine, or whatever it is, and say, I want it to be better. Can we talk about it? Can we be intentional about working on our sex life together? I'm willing to read something, to listen to something, to go to counseling with you, whatever it would take for us to improve that. And I think if you come at that way, and you come alongside your spouse, you're not criticizing them, they're not saying this is their fault. What you're doing is saying, this is something that I desire for us to have. I want it to be better than it has been. So I hope that helps on both of those questions. One of the things that we do, I do these video vlogs. They are on YouTube, and sometimes we put them on other things. This is one that I did on 9 things you can do to rev up your sex life. So let's get some ideas here. Welcome to the Awesome Marriage Blog. Today I'm Dr. Kim. We're so glad that you decided to join us today, because today we're going to talk about the top 9 awesome marriage things to rev up your sex life. Are you ready? Here we go. Number 1, guys, shower, brush your teeth. I'm just saying that I see guys and girls out a lot together, and the girls look amazing. They have nice things on, cute things, and they're fixed up, and the guy looks like he just got out of a ditch. Okay, guys, just clean up just a little bit, okay? Girls, whatever you're doing is probably working. Just keep breathing. That's usually going to work. If you need to clean up a little bit, fine. But usually you're going to be fine right where you are. Number 2, think about the other 23 hours in the day. It's what you do in those hours that's going to make a difference of what happens in the bedroom. If you're yelling and screaming and fighting and not thinking about each other and not being nice to each other or kind to each other, it's all off when it comes to the bedroom. Pursue each other 24 hours a day. Number 3, pay attention to the atmosphere. I know you can't always have candlelight and a fireplace and fire in it and all that kind of stuff, but pay attention to the atmosphere. Make it sure it's conducive to making love. And I get it, there's those spontaneous times. Those are great too. But overall, make some of those special times too. Number 4, massage. Massaging each other. It is awesome. There's the physical touch that goes with it. It is sensuous. It's a great thing. If you haven't tried it, massage. If you have tried it, you'll probably still do a massage because it's so awesome. Number 5, say what you think. If you think she's gorgeous or he's handsome or you love what they're doing, tell them. Don't just keep it in here. Tell them what you think. Number 6, make it a priority. Sex is a gift that God has given us in marriage. That needs to be a part of your marriage on a regular basis. I know things get busy. I know things you get with kids. If you have to put it on your calendar, fine. If you have to make a alert about it, fine. But make it a priority. Number 7, get rid of the kids. Not forever, but you need those times when the kids aren't there. When you have them at someone else's house and it's just the two of you at home. Some of our best date nights, romantic nights, when the kids were growing up, it's when the kids spent the night out. We had the whole house to ourselves. It's awesome to do that. Take a trip, number 8, just for the two of you. It doesn't have to be expensive. It can be just to a local hotel, or it can be to a bed and breakfast, which we've been to some awesome bed and breakfasts that were just very close driving from where we live. So take a trip like that, and then maybe you plan a big trip every once in a while where you go somewhere just amazing to spend time together, just the two of you. And number 9, take your time. You can't do all of these today. You can't do all of them tomorrow. It's just focusing back on making your sex life better, and take the time for that to happen. Okay? 9 top awesome marriage things you can do to rev up your sex life. Thanks for joining us. Okay. A couple things I want to say about that. One of the things I said early in that is that to take the time with it, I believe, or to be intentional about it. I can't remember exact words I use now. But one of the things I talk about in my book, 7 Secrets to an Awesome Marriage, is 24/7, 365 foreplay. What that means is to be intentional about your marriage all the time. So it's how you listen to each other, how you treat each other, how you talk to each other, how you have fun together, how your spiritual life is together. All of those things lay this foundation. Now, does it just automatically make your sex life great? No, but it lays a foundation that I think enhances the sex life and makes it so much easier to talk about, communicate about things that we're talking about doing that will help it get better. So that's one of the things, and I think the other thing is if it's gonna get better, it's got to be a priority. You've got to be intentional about it. You've got to set aside time. It's not going to get better if you keep doing the same things that you're doing over and over and over. If what you're doing over and over and over you like, that's fine. I'm not saying don't keep doing that, but if you want to be different, you want it to be better, you're going to have to be intentional. You have to do something different. Okay, got a couple more questions in. How can I ask my spouse for something sexually without seeming selfish? Well, one, I think, again, it's how you approach it. And you could come to your spouse and say, and most of these, I don't know, it could be the husband or the wife, either one there. So you don't want to come off and say something in a way your spouse could get defensive. You could say, hey, I've been thinking about something that I would like you to consider us doing in our sex life. I want to tell you about it, and then it's your decision. And really make it that way. If they say no, then that's okay. There's plenty of other things to do without focusing on just one thing that you've got to have to make your sex life right. No, you don't have to do that. So that's how I would approach it. Second question is, how am I supposed to know if sex is good for my spouse? How can I tell if I'm pleasing them? Ask them. Just ask them. Now, what I would do, if you've decided together that you're going to work on your sex life, I wouldn't analyze it right after. I just think you enjoy that and enjoy cuddling together or going to sleep together or whatever afterwards. And later in the day, the next day, you might say, hey, how was that for you? And then your spouse can say, how was that for you? And you can talk about what you liked and maybe if something you didn't like and what you think it might be better. So, again, it's talking about it. You're going to know if you please them, maybe by their reaction at the time, but also by asking them later, okay? Hope that helps. All right. One of the things that we do that we love doing at Awesome Marriage, we have lots of podcasts. I think we're getting ready to hit our 300th podcast on iTunes. And so if you haven't gone to, you can go to iTunes, go to Awesome Marriage Podcast, and you can subscribe. You can listen to all of them. They're all there. You can also get them off of our website, awesomemarriage.com. We talk about all kinds of subjects with Nils and Christina and I. This one, all three of us are on this podcast, and we have talked about the lies we believe about sex. Let's look in on this one.
So, Dr. Kim, how have you seen this play out in the counseling room? How does this end up affecting marriages? And how do you help couples kind of see the truth and lay down this lie that the culture has been feeding us that sex is the ultimate?
Yeah, I think it starts out, and we've got totally unrealistic expectations, and maybe not even that may not even be the right word, but we have defined sex in a different way than God defines it, and so we pursue that, and it's never going to be the fulfillment that God has for us, or what He has for us in that. So, and I think a lot of times I can remember thinking, okay, well, before we got married, thinking, okay, well, when we fight and we're married, I know we can have sex and then everything will be okay. I mean, I can really think of that. It's like it was going to be the cure-all for everything. Whatever it is that goes wrong, we'll have sex and then everything will just be.
Yeah, we'll just fight so we can have sex.
Yeah.
And I think couples do that.
This is the way marriage works. You
fight and then make up sex. Yeah.
You fight, then you have sex. It all just ends in sex. It's happily ever after.
Yeah, which is a problem if you have make-up sex one time and it's the best ever. You're thinking, oh, God, we don't want to go in that pattern. That we got to have
That's unhealthy.
We can have great make-up sex or something. But you're right, exactly. Yeah.
Definitely. So what does it look like for you teaching couples or, God's truth about this?
But I think in sex, there's so much that we have to renew our mind because of our culture. And you can't avoid it. You can't put some kid and raise them in a bubble and not be exposed to the things that we're talking about here in our culture. And so really a lot of them is helping see really that God did have sometimes people don't even associate sex with God.
Mm-hmm.
When I tell people that God gave it as a gift and He wants us to enjoy it, it's like sometimes it's like their head spinning. They think, I can't even get my mind around that. Mm-hmm. And so we have so many things that I think we believe so many lies or distorted truths about that. And so I think a starting place is really beginning to just accept the fact this is a gift, and then how do we embrace that? What are we doing now that keeps us from that? And then what can we do that's going to lead us down that path?
Yeah, that's good. That's good advice.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. Hope you'll listen to some of our other podcasts. We talk about everything. We're open and honest about it. Nils and Christina are usually on the show. Christina is always there. Nils joins us a lot of times. We have some special guests on. We did some special guest recording this week, so I think you'll love the podcast. The podcast coming up this week, there's a One Thing podcast episode, and it kind of goes in what we're talking about. It's how important is romance. We're doing a series this month on helping people that have gone through divorce, just trying to come alongside them, love them, care for them, help them navigate that difficult thing they're going through. The topic this week is My Marriage is Over, Now What? And then there's a Ask Dr. Kim, where people ask questions similar to this, except it's a podcast recording. Can Christians date online? That's a good one. That's a question that I think a lot of people have asked, and I think there's a lot of Christians dating online. So is that okay? We'll talk about that. And then this week, every Saturday, there is the Best Of podcast. This is one that I love. Two of my favorite people, Colby and Amanda Taylor. We're going to talk about their story, the darkest of valleys, what they went through together, what God did in that for them and their marriage. If you haven't heard this story, it is amazing, amazing story. So encourage you to join us for that. All right, let's get a couple more questions in. I think we've got time to do a couple more. The question is, can you be bad at sex? I'm going to have to say no. I mean, somebody out there may be going, what? You're saying no? Because I think in the sexual relationship in marriage, if you do the things that we're talking about, if you're communicating about it, if you're telling each other what you like, what you don't like, all of those kind of things, it's going to be good, and you're going to be fine, and you're going to be, and I guarantee you, if you're worried about this, God has created you to be everything your spouse needs in the sexual relationship and marriage. He will equip you for that. And so just focusing on that. One of the things we haven't talked about is it's okay to pray about your sex life. It's okay to ask God to make it better or to help you understand each other more. It's okay to do that. God cares about every single part of your marriage, including your sex life. Okay, last question for today. What if I don't want to do something in bed that my spouse asks for? Can I say no? Yes, of course you can say no. And so I think it's how you say it. If your spouse, if you've got the communication going, your spouse asks for something, it's okay to say, I'm not comfortable with that, but I am comfortable with this, or something else we could talk about. Don't just let it dead in the conversation. Remember, the thing we talk about so much, if there's a problem, and here we're talking about sex life, it is out in front of you. And then you and your spouse stand side by side and address this problem together. If you keep that mindset, you're not going to have any trouble learning to talk about your sexual relationship and improving it and it getting better, being everything that you want it to be or that God intended it to be. All right, we're going to look at one more video. This is one of our vlogs. We do One Thing Video podcast. The One Thing is an email I'll tell you about later. This is something we've begun doing. It's on podcast now. Sometime in the near future, it will be its own iTunes channel for podcast. But let's watch this one. So we've been talking about sex and marriage, and as we have, I hope we've rekindled your interest in working on your sexual relationship. Depending on where your sexual relationship was a few days ago, some of you probably found it fairly easy to get back on track. Others maybe experience a little or a lot of frustration. Wherever you are, just don't give up. When your car battery goes dead and just needs a jump start to get it going again? Well, I think the same can be true of a good sex life in your marriage. Here's a couple ideas that you can use to jump start your sex life. First, get someone to keep your kids overnight, then have a date night at home. Make the evening romantic. Candles, music, good food, maybe even take a bath or a shower together, or massage. Spend time talking and catching up, then reminisce about past good times you've had as a couple. Take time with the sexual part of the evening and really take time to enjoy each other. The second idea is really one I think all of us need to do at least one time a year. Get away, just the two of you. Depending on your budget, it can be a night or two at a local hotel or a bed and breakfast, or just a few days at a special destination. Just make sure it's just you two, there are no distractions, and don't put it off. Your one thing, plan your jump start together and then carry it out. Okay, I think do that. Look for our one things. If you would like to get our one thing email, it comes Monday through Friday every week. It gives you one thing each day that you can do to make your marriage better. It's easy to subscribe, onething.email. It'll come to your inbox every day. You can also subscribe on YouTube channel, and you can get our One Thing videos, plus our vlogs and all the other kind of stuff. Also, marriage channel on YouTube. We've got over 1,000 videos there that cover all kinds of subjects about relationships, marriage, and all those kind of things. One of the other things that we do at Awesome Marriage that really I enjoy writing, I enjoy doing them a lot, and that is on the YouVersion Bible app. We do reading plans. We're talking about sex today. We have two that talk specifically about sex. Sex and Marriage, the Basics, Part 1 and Part 2. They're both 5-day plans. If you're sitting there thinking, okay, I want to start talking to my spouse about this. I want us to begin to be more open about our sex life in marriage. This is a great way to open those conversations and to begin doing that. So, a couple ideas. One, if you've listened to this today and your spouse hasn't, it's going to be on YouTube, it's going to be here on Facebook, and you can go back and listen to it together. That might be a great way to start some of these conversations we're talking about going. That would be to do one of our YouVersion plans. Not only that, we have, I think, over 26 plans now. YouVersion just separated their 10th anniversary. We are so excited to be a part of that with YouVersion. With our plans, we have had over 700,000. Can you believe that? Of our Awesome Marriage reading plans completed. Wow. So it's such an opportunity to help people that we are so grateful for, to be a part of that with YouVersion and Life Church and all the great things that go on there. So next week on Dr. Kim Live, we're going to kind of continue the theme and talk about romance. We're going to talk about conflict later on. We're going to talk about all kinds of things. Plus, we want to hear from you. Post your comments. Tell us what you liked, what you didn't like. This is show 1. It will get better, I promise, because we always try to make things better. And if you've got ideas, if you've got topics you'd like us to talk about, if you have questions that you want to send in that we can answer, maybe it's just not a neat topic we're talking about, I'll take time to answer those questions too. In fact, we may just have one time where it's just questions and there's no topic, just so we can get in all your questions. Most of all, we thank you for joining us. We thank you for being a part of Awesome Marriage. We thank you for following all the stuff that we do, and have a great rest of your day.